In this video, we're going to talk about Pascal's principle. And the reason Pascal's principle is important, something interesting, is because its applications involve hydraulic lifts and brake systems. And basically what it does is it's able to take a small force and multiply that force. And we're going to learn how that works and also solve some numerical problems using this principle. So Pascal's principle states that a change in pressure, and we want to be clear that we're talking about pressure here, not force, a change in pressure to an enclosed fluid. And by fluid here, we're talking about an incompressible fluid such as water or oil. So gas would not work in this situation. Is transmitted undiminished to all portions of the fluid and to the walls of its container. So that means the pressure over here is going to be equal to the pressure over here. They will have the same amount of pressure. So we're going to start off by setting the pressures equal to each other. So the pressure on the left-hand side where this small piston is located will equal to the pressure on the right-hand side where this large piston is located. Knowing the definition of pressure, which is the force exerted over an area, we can write this as F1 over A1 is equal to F2 over A2. And let's go ahead and do an example to see how Pascal's principle helps us to understand how force is multiplied. So we'll call this small piston here location 1. So F1 will be 100 newtons. And we want to find out what the output force is going to be. And the area on the left-hand side, we'll say area of this piston right here, we'll call it A1. The area of this piston, we'll call it A2. And we'll state that A2 is 5 times the area of A1. All right, so we're going to do some substitution here. So I'm going to substitute 100 for F1, and A1 is the area for piston 1, and then F2 is what we're looking for, and A2 is 5 times the area of A1. So now we're going to solve for this. Notice that the A1s cancel out. So if I were to rewrite this, I get F2 is equal to, multiply 5 on both sides, I get 500 newtons. So by increasing the size of the piston, it's able to get an output force that was 5 times the force of the input force. Now, it's important to note that the amount of work on the input side is equal to the amount of work on the output side. So the work is not multiplied. What's multiplied is the force. And also, there is a trade-off. So we know that work is force times distance. And if we have a small force here on the left-hand side, it's going to require a large amount of distance that the piston will move. And then on the output side, you're going to get a large output force, but there's a trade-off. The trade-off is you're going to lose on the distance. You're going to get a smaller distance. So now let's take a look at some more calculation problems you might see involving Pascal's principle. All right, now we'll take a look at a sample problem. Question 1, a hydraulic lift is used to raise a car with a weight of 1,500 newtons. The small piston has an area of 0.02 meters per second. That's right, 0.02 meters squared. And the large piston has an area of 2 meters squared. What force must be applied to the small piston to lift the car? All right, so here's our drawing. We have a small force and we're getting a big force out of that. And the reason we're able to do that is because we have a greater area piston right here. We're going to start off with P1 equals P2. So P1 is the pressure on the small piston end. P2 is the pressure at the large piston end. And we know that by definition, pressure is the force over the area. So F1 over A1 is going to equal F2 over A2. All right, now we're going to do some substitution. A1 is 0.02 meters squared. So that equal to F2. The car has a weight of 15,000 newtons. The area on the larger piston is 2. And so we're going to solve for F1. So we'll take 15,000 times 0.02 divided by 2, and we get 150 newtons. So that's the amount of force needed on the small piston to lift this car. Next, part B, if the small piston is pushed down by 0.1 meter, how far does the large piston rise? So we know that these hydraulic lifts do not multiply work. So the work on the input side is going to equal the work on the output side. And work is by definition force times displacement. So F1d1 equals F2d2. We're going to go ahead and substitute for F1. We know that's 150 newtons. D is the distance that it is pushed down. So 0.1 meter equals F2. The car weight is 15,000 newtons times D2. All right, so we're going to take 150 times 0.1 divided by 15,000. We get that D2 is 0.01 meter. So we notice that although there was a larger force on F2, the distance that it went up was much smaller than D1. Now we'll take a look at question number 2. A U-shaped tube is filled with oil with one side connected to a small piston of radius 0.02 meters and the other side connected to a large piston of radius 0.2 meters. If a force of 100 newtons is applied to the small piston, calculate the pressure increase transmitted through the oil. So the pressure throughout the enclosed fluid is going to be constant. So if I can find the pressure at any point in the fluid, I will know the pressure anywhere else through the fluid. And so we'll start with on the left-hand side here because we have some information about pressure and area. So pressure by definition is force divided by area. And we will use F1, and the area is just going to be pi r squared. It will be R1. I'll call this R2. So pi R1 squared. And F1 is 100 newtons. And we have pi, and R is 0.05. And we're going to square that. So 100 divided by pi divided by 0.05 squared. And we get 12,732. And the units are pascals. So next, they want us to determine the force exerted by the fluid on the large piston. So we're going to set the pressures at the beginning, at the left-hand side of this system, this tube, to be P1. On the right-hand side of the tube, we'll call this P2. And since P pressure is force over area, we know that F1 over A1 is equal to F2 over A2. Now, we don't know the area, but we can calculate the area because we know that the area of a circle is pi r squared. So pi r1 squared is equal to F over 2 pi r2 squared. Next, we're going to substitute 100 for F1 divided by, and we know pi r, we also know that the pi's cancel out right here. So we know R1 is 0.05, and that's going to be squared. And then we're looking for F2. R2, they told us in the question, is 0.05, is actually 0.2 meters, and that's going to be squared. And then solving for F2, I'm going to multiply 0.2 squared on both sides, and then we're going to solve for F2, and we get 1,600 newtons. All right, now we'll take a look at question number 3. A dentist chair is supported by a hydraulic system. The chair has a mass of 80 kilograms, and the patient adds an additional mass of 70 kilograms. The hydraulic fluid connects a small piston of diameter 0.05 meter to a large piston of diameter 0.30 meter. What is the force exerted on the fluid by the large piston? So to find the amount of force exerted by the large piston, we can find out the weight of the mass, the weight of the chair, and the weight of the person. So we can use F equals mg, and the mass is 80 plus 70. G is 9.8, and this gives us 14,700 newtons. All right, the second part. What's the minimum force needed on the small piston to lift the chair and the patient? We know the output force is 14,700 newtons. What's the input force? So we're going to start with P1 equals P2. F1 over A1 is equal to F2 over A2. Now, the area, we don't know the area, but we do know the diameter. So what we can is we can do pi r squared, except we don't have r. So we take the diameter divided by 2 squared. Right-hand side, we have F2 pi times diameter 2 divided by 2 squared. Now, you'll notice that the pi's will cancel out, and you'll notice that the 2's will cancel out. So you basically end up, so the pi's cancel out, the 2's cancel out. You basically end up with the diameter squared. So F1 divided by the diameter squared, which is going to be 0.05 squared, is equal to, and F2, that's the force that we calculated from the first part, which was 1,000. All right, now let's take a look at question 3. A dentist chair is supported by a hydraulic system. The chair has a mass of 80 kilograms, and the patient adds an additional mass of 70 kilograms. The hydraulic fluid connects a small piston of diameter 0.05 meters to a large piston of diameter 0.3 meters. What is the force exerted on the fluid by the large piston? So the amount of force exerted by the large piston is going to be the weight of the person and the chair. We can find that out by using F equals mg. The total mass is 80 kilograms plus 70 kilograms times 9.8 for g, and we get 1,470 newtons. All right. And then using that, we're going to solve part B. What is the minimum force needed on the small piston to lift the chair on the patient? So we know the output force is 1,470. What is the input force? We're going to start off with setting the pressures equal to each other on the small piston and also where the large piston is located. And then we know pressure is force over area. So F1 over A1 equals F2 over A2. And we also know that the area, even though we don't have the area, but we have the diameter, we know that we can use pi r squared. So we have the diameter, we'll take d divided by 2, diameter divided by 2 squared is equal to F2 divided by pi times d2 over 2 squared. You'll notice that the pi's cancel out and the 2's cancel out. And that leaves us with the force divided by d1 squared. So we end up with F1 divided by d1 is 0.05 squared is equal to 2, and that's the output force, which we just calculated, 1,470 newtons, divided by, and the diameter on the large piston is 0.3, so it's going to be 0.3 squared. So we're going to solve for F and F1, we get 40.8 newtons.